Here is what the official record tells us about Marilyn Monroe's last night. Marilyn spent August 4th at home in Brentwood. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, was present. Her psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, had visited earlier that day. She spoke on the phone with friends, some conversations upbeat, others are anxious. Sometime after midnight, Murray noticed Marilyn's bedroom light still on. The door was locked. She called Dr. Greason, who broke a window to enter the room. Marilyn was found lying face down on her bed, nude, with the telephone in her hand. The official cause of death, acute barbiturate poisoning, likely suicide, but the scene was chaotic. Statements changed, timelines shifted, and the inconsistency, real or perceived, became the soil where conspiracy theories grow. Let's go there. It's just after midnight in Brentwood, August 4th, 1962. A lamp glows behind thin curtain. A phone line off the hook, and inside a quiet bedroom, Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's brightest star, is alive for the last time. By morning, she will be gone. By afternoon, the world will mourn, and by nightfall, the rumors will begin. Rumors that will twist her final hours into a labyrinth of security, secrets, politics, and powers. Rumors that will pull two of the most powerful men in America into her story, President John F. Kennedy and Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy. Tonight, we're not chasing ghosts. We're tracing the machinery of myth. This is Balanced Voices. And today we will be step into one of America's most enduring conspiracies. What really happened to Marilyn Monroe, and why did the Kennedy brothers become part of the story? Chapter 1: The Woman Behind the Myth. Before the conspiracies, before the politics, before the legend, there was Marilyn, a woman born Norman Jean Mortensen, raised in foster homes, shaped by instability and longing. She was brilliant, witty, and deeply sensitive. She read voraciously, wrote poetry, and fought for respect in an industry that preferred her silent and smiling. By 1962, she was exhausted, battling insomnia, depression, and a dependency on barbiturates prescribed far too freely. She was lonely, vulnerable, and increasingly isolated. This is the foundation of the story, the human truth that conspiracy theories often erase. The Kennedy connection. Marilyn Monroe didn't know John F. Kennedy. She also knew Robert Kennedy. Their social circles overlapped through Hollywood elites, political donors, and the Rat Pack. What we know, she attended a gathering where JFK was president. She had contact with Robert Kennedy through mutual acquaintances. She performed her Happy Birthday, Mr. President in May of 1962. What we don't have is evidence of a sustained affair with JFK, proof of a romantic relationship with Robert Kennedy, any verifiable exchange of political secrets. But in early 1960s, the Kennedys were America's royal family. Marilyn was Hollywood's brightest star, and the public didn't need proof. They just needed a story. Here is the official record that tells us about Marilyn's final night. Again, Marilyn spent August 4th at home in Brentwood. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, was present. Her psychiatrist, Dr. Greenson, had visited earlier that day. She spoke on the phone with friends. Some conversations were upbeat, some were anxious. Sometime after midnight, Murray noticed that the bedroom light was still on. The door was locked, and she called Dr. Greenson, who broke a window. Marilyn was found face down on her bed, nude with her telephone. The official cause of death was acute barbiturate poisoning, likely suicide, but the scene was chaotic, statements changed, and timelines shifted. And the inconsistencies, real or perceived, became the soil where conspiracy theories grow. The most explosive conspiracy theory claims that Robert Kennedy visited Marilyn Monroe on the night she died, that he was involved in her death, where the theory comes in. Conflicting statements from the housekeeper, claim from LAPD officers decades later, neighbors who reported seeing RFK in the area, stories about Marilyn keeping a diary of political secrets, a diary that never had been found. What the theory alleges, that Marilyn threatened to expose an affair with RFK or reveal sensitive information that she was silenced. What the evidence shows. RFK was documented in Northern California that day. No verifiable travel records place him in Los Angeles. No physical evidence ties him into the scene, but most claims rely on hearsay or retrospective accounts. Conspiracy theories don't thrive on evidence, they thrive on gaps. And Marilyn's final hours have gaps. To understand why the RFK theory persisted, we have to understand the political climate of 1962. It was a year of Cold War paranoia, organized crime investigation, FBI surveillance, and a press corps that protected powerful men. The Kennedys were charismatic, ambitious, and surrounded by secrecy. Marilyn was vulnerable, famous, and increasingly unstable. Put those elements together and you got yourself the perfect storm for a myth. Another major conspiracy theory suggests that Marilyn's death was staged, that evidence was moved, phone records altered, witnesses pressured. Inconsistencies often cited the position of her body, the missing glass of water, the lack of pill residue in her stomach, the delayed phone call to the police, the behavior of her housekeeper, what investigation found. Poor police procedure, miscommunication, a chaotic scene, a lack of modern forensic standards, not a cover up, but a mess. And in the public imagination, messy often becomes mysterious. What's at the heart of it? We need Marilyn Monroe to be more than a woman who died alone in her bedroom. We need her to be a martyr, a symbol, a victim of power, a keeper of the secrets, a woman too dangerous to live. Because the truth that she struggled with mental illness, addiction, and loneliness feels too ordinary for a legend. And the Kennedys? They were America's golden son. Tying them to Marilyn's death give the story weight, drama, tragedy, and the ingredients of myth. So what really happened? The most supported explanation is the simplest. Marilyn died from an overdose, accidental or intentional, after years of emotional turmoil and medical mismanagement. The Kennedy brothers were part of her social orbit, yes, but the evidence tying them to her death is circumstantial, contradictory, and often rooted in political agendas. The conspiracy says more about us, our culture, our hunger for drama, our discomfort with mental illness than they do about Marilyn herself. Marilyn Monroe once said, "I don't mind living in a man's world, as long as I can be a woman in it." But the world she lived in, Hollywood, Washington, the press, was not built to protect women like her. Her story is not a conspiracy, it's a cautionary tale, a reminder that fame is fragile, power is complicated, and myths are easier to believe than the truth. This is Balanced Voices. Thank you for listening.